You have hundreds of contacts in your phone, and somehow that does not feel like safety, at least not when it matters. Group chats, followers, story reactions, people who know your face, your jokes, your updates, but not your silence. But when it is 2:13 a.m. and something inside you quietly starts falling apart and the ceiling feels too close, you scroll through names, pause on a few, and still cannot choose one person to text because every name carries a risk. So you open an AI chatbot and type the sentence you could not send. I need to talk, like a confession to the dark. Why AI? This is not a video about AI being evil or about you being weak for using it. It is about the strange comfort of being heard without being watched, measured, or remembered socially in return. Pew Research Center found that 1 in 5 U.S. adults under 30 had used chatbots for emotional support or advice. That does not mean everyone is lonely, addicted, or broken, and it should not be twisted that way. It is just a signal. It means AI has entered one of the most private rooms of modern life, the place where we admit we are not okay. The first reason AI feels safe is simple. It does not look at you with judgment. No raised eyebrow, no tired sigh, no friends suddenly changing the subject because your pain feels inconvenient or too dramatic. When you open up to a person, you do not only share information, you risk being seen differently afterward. A friend, partner, coworker, or family member is not just a listener. They are part of your real social world. That makes honesty heavier, because your words may stay in the relationship long after the moment passes. So before anyone calls you needy, dramatic, or too much, you start editing yourself quietly. You cut out the jealousy because it sounds ugly before anyone sees it. You hide the shame because it feels embarrassing before anyone names it. That is emotional risk. You turn "I am lonely" into "I'm just tired" because tired sounds easier to accept. You turn "I need help" into "never mind, I'm fine" because fine keeps everyone comfortable. The message gets shorter, cleaner, safer, and less true with every deletion. In a strange way, you reject your own feelings before anyone else gets the chance. But with AI, the first draft can be ugly, unfinished, and emotionally messy. You can be jealous, ashamed, confused, angry, needy, and still keep typing without watching a face react. You do not have to play employee, partner, child, friend, and emotionally stable adult all at once. You do not have to choose a role before you speak. The mask can hit the floor first. The relief is not that AI truly knows your soul, because it does not. The relief is that it lets you speak before you disappear into performance. Then comes the second reason. AI usually responds, and response can feel like rescue before the anxiety has time to grow. A human message can sit there, read and unanswered, like a tiny locked door in your chest, waiting for someone else to turn the key. Scene. One small word can make the whole room feel colder than it was a second ago, even if nothing has actually changed. Your mind starts filling the empty space with explanations, and most of them hurt, usually against yourself. Did I say too much? Again, are they annoyed with me? Did they stop caring? Or did I imagine the closeness? And to be fair, real people have real limits, and that matters. They are not machines. They may be busy, exhausted, overwhelmed, distracted, or honestly unsure how to answer something heavy. Their delay is not always rejection, even when it feels personal. But your nervous system may not wait patiently for the full story. It moves faster than context. It may feel the gap, panic, and call it abandonment, even if abandonment is not happening. AI changes that rhythm by removing the waiting room. You send a message, and the dots appear almost immediately. They are only animated dots, but emotionally, they can feel like someone staying in the room when your own thoughts are getting loud. Sometimes, you do not need perfect wisdom at 2 a.m. You need contact. You need proof that your words did not fall into a void and vanish there. That is why instant response can feel so powerful even when the answer is imperfect. It removes the timing problem, and timing is a huge part of emotional safety, more than we admit. You do not have to wonder if you are interrupting dinner, work, sleep, or someone else's bad day. The door is already open, and that can feel unbelievably gentle when everything else feels locked. But the third reason goes deeper than judgment or timing: control. With AI, you can pause, delete, rewrite, restart, and pretend. The first version never existed without social consequences. You can confess something messy and take it back before anyone gets hurt, confused, or disappointed. Real conversations do not work that way, because real people remember. That is what makes them vulnerable. Once words enter another person, they meet a living mind, not an empty screen. That mind has memories, moods, boundaries, wounds, history, and its own interpretation of what you meant. That is what makes real connection frightening. You cannot fully control the other side. It is also what makes it real, because the other side is alive, not simulated. AI can feel intimate without asking for the full danger of intimacy. Close enough to hear you, but not close enough to truly leave. Far enough not to wound you immediately, but near enough to comfort you tonight. That balance can be deeply comforting, especially when people have not felt safe for a long time in their bodies. A safe room becomes a hiding place when every difficult feeling stays inside it. For some people, the hardest sentence is not, "I am hurting." It is more exposed than that. It is, "Can I talk to you?" Because that sentence asks to matter. It asks for space in another person's life, and that can feel terrifying. The American Psychological Association advises that generative AI chatbots and wellness apps should not replace qualified mental health care. AI may support reflection, but it is not a therapist, a diagnosis, or emergency help when life becomes dangerous, or the only support. If you are in crisis, the safer path is toward real human support, professional care, or emergency services, not deeper into isolation. A 2025 OpenAI and MIT Media Lab study found links between heavier daily chatbot use and loneliness, emotional dependence, problematic use, and lower socialization. But links are not the same as simple cause and effect, and this distinction matters, especially in psychology. It may be that lonely people use AI more because they are already searching for somewhere to land. It may also be that using AI too much gives real relationships less practice, less courage, and less repair over time. The loop is the point, not a simple blame game. The harder people feel, the easier AI looks. The easier AI looks, the harder people can start to feel. And this is why the story is bigger than technology. It is about the shape of modern loneliness and connection. Understand, or hide. The World Health Organization has reported that about 1 in 6 people globally are affected by loneliness, with real consequences for health and society. Loneliness is not only being physically alone in an empty room, it is being surrounded and still feeling unseen, unheard, and emotionally untranslated in the middle of a crowd. It is having people around you, yet nowhere your unedited truth can safely land. Not every person is safe enough for your deepest self, and boundaries are healthy. But if only AI hears the truth, your inner life can become a room without windows, no matter how much text fills the walls. Maybe the beginning is small, smaller than a confession. One message that does not explain everything. One crack in the door, not the whole house opened at once. One person who is safe enough to try with, even imperfectly, instead of perfectly. AI can respond to words, but a person can sit beside you in silence. AI can remember what you typed, but not the day you both survived together. A real friend may notice the smile you use when you are not okay. Sometimes presence is the answer before advice is, and silence becomes less lonely because someone is sharing the room. AI can help you prepare the sentence, but life begins when you carry it outside into a living relationship. Real connection is not strong because it never rains or never gets awkward or misunderstanding. It is strong because two people keep adjusting the umbrella instead of walking away. when it would be easier to leave. A real reply may be late, awkward, messy, and full of backspaces. It may not sound as smooth as a chatbot because it is coming from a life, not a system with limits and feelings. But intimacy is not perfect understanding on the first try. It is two people trying again after the first missed attempt. It is choosing the right person, not opening every door just because you feel alone. Right person, right time. AI can help separate the feeling, the need, and the message, so your truth becomes clearer instead of sharper. But then comes the question. You cannot outsource to any machine for you. Will I use this as a bridge back toward people? Or will I turn it into a cave where no one can reach me? Am I trying to understand myself more honestly? Or am I hiding from the risk of being seen and still needing someone in return? AI does not create all loneliness, but it can reveal where we are starving for safety. Real connection is having at least one place where you do not have to perform so hard or translate yourself constantly. Not replacement. For everyday feelings, maybe you do not need a dramatic confession or a perfect speech to begin. Maybe you only need, "Can we talk?" and the courage to let it send. And maybe the best reply is not perfect, just present. "I'm here," enough to open a little space. Because a person has to put something down to make room for you, even for a moment. A machine is available because it is designed to be available. A person is present because they choose to be present, even with their own life happening. That choice is the difference. And it is heavier than instant response, because it costs something. AI feels safe because it asks for almost nothing. Real connection matters because it asks us to be brave, to speak, listen, repair, and stay. Use AI to understand your inner world, but let it be a bridge, not a cave. Let it guide you toward people, not away from them.